Welcome back, everyone, to Entrepreneuring. I'm Garrett Weinzierl, and my guest today has worked in the entertainment industry for over 20 years. He is one of the owners of Out of Gum Productions. Sergio Armendariz, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited to talk to you. To break the fourth wall a bit, every time we have a guest here on the show, I'm typically sent some talking points, some notes, so I can get to know you before I even get to know you. And you have quite the long list of accomplishments.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not kidding when I say you've been working in the entertainment industry for over 20 years. I've looked at some. Have been involved in quite a few animations.
Yeah, several animation projects, TV, live action, feature films. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember being a very young version of myself, seeing some of these films you got to work on, like The Prince of Egypt, for example.
Yeah, that was a big one. Fun movie to work on, great to work on, a lot of experience there. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. So, getting to your production company, Out of Gum, what exactly do you do with that company, and how long has that been around?
Out of Gum Productions has been around for about almost 2 years now, and what we do with that, we're basically creating projects for the Latino market that hasn't really been tapped into. There have been projects that have been done with Latinos, but we're doing stuff. I like to say we're doing mainstream projects with Latinos that are in them, not just Latino projects. So anybody can play the role. It's just not for Latinos. But basically what we're trying to do is just get the Latino audience to grow. I mean, the audience is there. We're just trying to get it expanded. We're just trying to make it, we're just trying to cater to the demand, and this hasn't been met yet. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do everything we can, and we basically are doing feature films, TV, live action TV, animation, reality, just try to do some documentaries at the same time as well. But we're just trying to hit all facets of the entertainment industry that we can. Web series, we're trying to do a couple of those, and that's what we basically like to do. So.
Oh wow, that's great. And where did that initial inspiration come from? Was it something you've always wanted to kind of target since you were younger?
I'm basically animation is one of my favorites, and my business partner Felipe Salazar, his favorite is animation as well, and he's working for Disney right now, and I've worked for Disney in the past, and it basically came from I'd see the shows and stuff like that, like Japanese animation and stuff like that, and wanted to see. I just didn't feel like I was being represented, like the Latinos, like myself and other people weren't being represented. It's like, and we have cool stories too. A lot of them are like mythologically based, culture and rich in flavor, family stories, all kinds of things. So that's basically where we decided to say, we need to put stuff out there because other studios and stuff like that aren't doing that. So there's a need and there's a demand, and we just want to do it. Basically, what we want to do is just to see our own projects get out there. And just give our point of view as what we want to show. So
that's great. It's clearly comes from a place of passion. That's always. It's
always a place of passion.
Yeah, it's a good place to start from.
Yeah.
So what experience do you have in the entertainment industry? I mentioned Prince of Egypt, and you've talked a little bit about animation. But how did that all lead up to you starting your own production company?
Let's see. When I first started the business, I went out there with a degree in journalism, and then I learned how to screenwrite. So basically, I'm a writer at heart, and I basically write I pretty much write almost every day. And what I basically when I got there, I did writing. I learned screenwriting. I actually did screenplay analysis. Is basically you read the script from a production company, and then you'll read it, and they'll want to know, how does it read? Is it good structure-wise, story-wise? Does it keep you, enthralled in the story and stuff like that? So I started off doing that. I did stuff for Denise DeNovi. I don't know if you know who she is. She did the first Batman with Tim Burton.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they produced that. So I read a couple of scripts for her and stuff like that on the Sony lot. So I started that. So I was a script reader, and then I was writing, and then I went into production for TV. Worked on Mad About You.
Okay.
I started cleaning the stages on Mad About You.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how I got in. I basically cleaned the stage, and then the producer was impressed. He goes, "Wow, you cleaned up my stage really great." So I went in there. He says, if you need a job, I go, okay. So I came in. I became a phone PA. Basically, a phone PA is on the stage and they answer all the phone calls on the stage. Any messages and stuff like that. Then I went to post production. I worked in post production for Mad About You, where basically after the show is done, we're the guys that complete the show, like music and sound and everything, to bring it to the network. And then from there, a couple of producers left, and I went into animation at DreamWorks, and that's where it all started. We just did, Prince of Egypt, El Dorado, Spirit, Sinbad, and
yeah. So you were working at DreamWorks, kind of at the ground floor when they were first getting their animation kind of off the ground.
I started DreamWorks a year after they started. It was basically just a group of us in one little building on Lancashire right off the Universal Studios lot.
Oh wow, yeah, because they have a very similar animation history to Disney. They started 2D and traditional, and eventually moved on to pretty much all 3D all the time.
Right, doing 3D all the time, yeah, and they're doing stuff like that. Some I haven't kept up with DreamWorks that much, but they're still going to doing traditional. Some here, some there. They're moving into TV and stuff like that. So
right,
basically, stuff like that. But Disney, I worked at Disney too, and we worked in 2D, 3D animation, all that stuff. So, but basically at Disney, I worked in TV. So TV is a lot more exciting because you see your work faster than you do in a feature film, because a feature film takes about 2 to 3 years to get that thing going. So.
Yeah, it's a much faster iteration process. I lived in LA for some time. I have a bunch of friends from college who work at the various studios, and some work at Nickelodeon and do television, and others work at DreamWorks and do films. And it's hilarious the turnaround time, because my buddy who works at Nickelodeon is like, well, you can see what I did in a month. And my friend who works at DreamWorks, it's like, well, you'll see it in 3 years. So.
Yeah. It's the turnaround time's crazy, but it's fun. It's fun because I like to see my stuff come out faster. So.
Yeah. I can understand that as well. I like.
Yeah, it feels like you're making more progress than you're like, we're not done yet. So, but.
Yeah, it's easier to I feel to keep your eye on the target, because it's not. Yeah, it is. I feel like the target is moving faster, but you also get to hit it sooner.
Yeah, and it doesn't give you much. Basically, you have to have the story down right away. And that's basically sometimes better. And what I feel like when we're writing stuff, the first version is sometimes the best version, because you get like what your really story you want to like get out there, instead of going back and revising it, and then you just lost the complete thing that you started with. But it just varies. But it's always good to just get that first version. The one that you want, the raw version, to get out there. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. So getting back to Out of Gun Productions, you talked early on about how the whole kind of goal is to be a Latino production company and work on Latino projects. How are you different? What kind of sets you apart from other Latino productions out there?
Because we're basically doing although we're Latino, projects, we're not going to just be doing Latino projects. We're going to be doing any kind of project that has basically what we're looking for is a great story, right? And when we do that, a great story can have Latino, can have anything you want, but they don't have to be Latino. But what makes us different is that we're basically two writing partners and business partners who are just bringing their own projects together. From both of us together, we have 150 projects total. And that's like, stuff that we have to work on in the first couple of years to get them done. But the way we're different is that we're just basically focusing on a different type of Latino, I don't want to say market, but it's basically the Latino, not genre either, but I just say it's just a little niche in the Latino market that hasn't been hit, because, everything's like, sometimes it's in Spanish and English, and we like to just make it mainstream with anybody that can be in the project. So, but it's just stuff that we want to get out there. Is just a different vision of how we're trying to get it done.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I can understand. It seems like you're targeting a culture more or less.
Yeah, we're targeting a culture more or less, not just a little niche of marketing niche that we need to hit. We just want to get what we have out there, get a good story told, basically.
All right. At what point? So you have a business partner. What was the point where you decided it's time to start our own production company?
We were both. I think we were both out of work for a little bit, and we had a really good mentor that said, you guys should start your own, your own company because you guys have the similar taste in projects and stuff like that. And Philippe and I would meet like once a week, and I think in 2 weeks we came up with like 50 projects just off the top of our head, just like just the ideas of what we wanted to do. So we came up with live action, animation, and feature films, and we said, yeah, let's start this company because we need to get our voice out there because the studios aren't basically doing it. We're gonna have to do it ourselves. So that's why we decided in LA to do our stuff. And then although we haven't gotten anything done yet, we have a lot of projects that are ready to go. And we've been shopping around to like Amazon, to Netflix, Disney, DreamWorks, a couple of studios like that. And what we want to do is just hit the market where it's where we can see that it's that needs to be hit. So for one of our main things is we're doing horror films, Latino horror films, because there's a huge market for Latinos. Latinos apparently love horror films and animation, and there's a couple of studies we read about like, wow, we didn't know that, and so we're doing Latino horror films, and we want to get those out there because there's a market for it.
Okay, well, color me interested. I'm actually a massive horror fan.
Yeah, and we're trying to make not huge budget horror fans, but horror movies. We're just trying to make something that's like I said, enriched stories that can be shot for a good amount of money, not a lot of money, but a good amount, and you have a good story, and it scares you. That's what we want to be, is scared. So,
well, sign me up.
Especially in the audience.
Some of my favorite horror movies are done on shoestring budgets. So
yeah, like Halloween, one of the better films that's come out. That wasn't really too expensive, but
yeah, no, a lot of them, especially the first outings, were relatively frugal productions.
Right, and what we're trying to do, we're trying to just basically do like a franchise, right? So anything we do, usually we'll have it make like a trilogy. So basically, we're always thinking about multi-platform levels of what we can take a project to. So if we have one project like it's a horror film, we could make it into a graphic novel. We could make it into a graphic novel, comic book, a video game, a TV series, anything to shoot off from there. So that's what we like to do.
Hey, you hear about that a lot these days. It seems like when a movie hits the box office, it's like, all right, how is it doing? How much money did it make? Okay, it made X amount of money. Expect a sequel in a year or two.
Right. Well, see, when we write our projects, we're basically thinking, this is the first part. We already got the second part. We'll write them all together. So we'll have them ready to go. So because there's a market there for it, and we're guessing not guessing. We know that people will like these stories, and then they'll get hooked, and then there'll be another one they want to see. Because basically, what we want to do is as an audience, people want to escape and have an adventure with these characters, right? So if we scare them in the first one, they're going to get they say, well, what happened in the second and third, and what's going on, and it's a whole team. So. It'll be great. It's a great experience. That's what it's all about. It's a fun experience and a story being told of certain characters and stuff like that.
That's great. This sounds so exciting. I love the creative process. So I'm really digging this. I want to go into that a little bit. So when you and your business partner write, do you kind of do marathon sessions? Do you you hear stories of certain writers, they get together with their partner and they kind of lock themselves away in a hotel or something and just write for a weekend?
Yeah, well, we'll have conversations. We'll lock ourselves in a room, or actually we'll just spend like 4 hours. In 4 hours, we could pretty much come up with projects. Like good amount of projects that have decent storylines and stuff like that. So basically, what we do is we'll go and we'll figure out like a 2-line pitch. The log line, what the story's about. That way, we'll go from there. It'll give us a basis, and then we can write the story from there. It would take about 4 hours. And we'll take a break, grab lunch, and then come back and do another 4 hours. So we could do pretty much in a day, because we're both creative. And he worked on Big Brother and a couple other shows, and I worked at DreamWorks and Disney, and now he's working at Disney and live action, so TV, so Disney Family Channel. So
oh, great!
Yeah.
So is your partner out in Southern California?
He's in Southern California. I go back and forth to Southern California. And right now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to branch out and go to Las Cruces, New Mexico. And it's basically what we're doing. We want to, because it's rich in culture for our stories. We feel we can shoot stuff on a good budget, not a huge budget, a good budget, and there's lots of locations to shoot at, and it's rich in everything that we need. So everything, and plus it's not only Latino, but it's a vast amount of different types of individuals and races and all kinds of stuff. And I wanted to say extraterrestrial races as well. I mean, we welcome those as well because we need that as well. But yeah, no, we're going to Las Cruces, and we want to do our projects there because it's Las Cruces is up and coming for projects everywhere, and especially the movie industry, because New Mexico is booming, as you know.
Oh, I blame. I don't know about you. I blame Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah. Breaking Bad was great, and now I watch that Better Call Saul and a whole bunch of other shows. I mean, The Preacher now is shooting in Albuquerque.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. I just watched The Preacher pilot last night, which I really enjoyed. But I made this joke to my wife. I'm like, AMC's kind of becoming like the desert drama channel.
Right.
But
it's great.
I'm not complaining because they're so far really good.
Yeah, it's great. It's I love all their shows, and that would be one of our dreams to get on with AMC to do a show like that.
Right.
With Latino, and we're here, same location. Let's shoot it. So,
yeah. So are you primarily based in either Las Cruces or Los Angeles, or do you kind of split your time between the two?
I split my time between the two. In Los Angeles, I go back and forth because we do pitches and meetings and stuff like that. And then, basically I'm in Las Cruces, but we're looking to branch off and stay in Las Cruces. He'll be in Los Angeles, I'll be in Las Cruces. And now with internet and everything, we can conference call and everything like that. So it's pretty easy. So, but we're trying to branch out to Las Cruces and, just start doing our own projects here because it seems like it would be better. We have more rich environment for stories, a lot of cultural stories here, and everything that we've written and want to do is basically be done here. Like I said, done here, with a good price and a quality product, when we're done. And the people here are fantastic to work with. It's just something we want to do.
Well, that's great. And it's awesome if you can build it up out of basically your home.
Yeah, we can build it basically our home, or even Las Cruces is trying to build their own studio here. So we'll get on the ground floor and help them as much as we can, and we'll it's basically hand in hand helping each other. So that's what we're about. We're about not only our projects, but if there's other Latinos that have really great projects that we think this is fantastic stories to be told, hey, we're willing to help them out, do as much as we can, produce, help them out.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's what we want to do.
So what projects are you currently working on?
Well, currently, like I said, we just finished, we're doing a rewrite. We got some really good feedback on a horror film that we wrote. It's called Soul Diver.
Soul Diver, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you, let me see, I'll give you a little brief concept of what it's about. Soul Diver is about it's actually a female lead, right? So Soul Diver is about a female character named Sally Hartford. She's a loving wife and non-believer of the spirit world, and she must work with her husband's ragtag team of part-time treasure hunters in order to defeat and release her husband's body, which is trapped in the spirit world when an evil spirit torments him and will forever keep him in eternity unless he's released in the next 72 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's basically, we came up with that, like a treasure hunter kind of thing. And these guys are treasure hunters. They're hunting for treasure, and they actually figured out a way to drop their body temperature, like an old Navy Mark diving suits with the big helmets.
Okay.
So they drop their temperature, and what happens is when you drop your temperature, because like when you go in a room and you feel like a chill,
right?
You know what that is, right?
No,
it's ghost.
Okay.
So when they drop the temperature, they can see the spirit world, and what happens if there's like a murder, or if there's like some event that happened, it could at like 3:00, it continually loops at that time every day until the cycle's broken. So they go there and they view with the event that happens, and if there's treasure there, they can go back to that space and see if the treasure is still there. So that's where they're finding the idea to the spirit world, and they actually bust into the spirit world, and a demon traps the main character, and her husband she has to go back and save him. It's only her love that can pull him out of there. But there's a twist at the end, but I won't give that away. It happens. Which leads to the next movie, and then it leads to the next movie. So it's a trilogy. So
great.
That's what we're working on right now, and we're also working on the first Latino superhero. There isn't really a Latino superhero. that you can think of or I can think of. So we created one, and we're doing that as a graphic novel. And we were trying to do it. Actually, we were talking to a couple of producers trying to do it as a feature film. So it might be up as a feature film before it's a graphic novel. So it's basically a kid who gets chosen. Actually, I'll give you a really quick concept of what it is. The boy's name is Eddie Toronado, right?
Okay.
And he's not great in his he's not great in his studies. So his parents send him off for the summer to visit his grandfather, who's an archaeologist in the Mayan. And his grandfather's going through the Mayan temples that are there. And Eddie finds this little piece, and he says, "What's this?" And his grandfather says, "I have no idea." So he puts it, where he thinks it belongs on this hieroglyph. And what happens is they wake up the next morning and they're in space, right? In a spaceship. They've been taken to space. And what they did is Eddie activated this robot. His name is Sterling Chan Chan, who actually becomes his mentor and kind of guide through the whole process of what he's going to go through. And they take him to the Mayan Empire, where the Mayans left the Earth and went back to their home world called Corazón del Cielo, the heart of the sky. Right, so he goes back there, and what he finds out, he's like, "You're the next chosen leader of the Mayan Empire to protect the Mayan Empire in this galaxy." He's like, "Wait, I'm just a kid. I can't do that." They say, "Well, you have to go back in time and learn from all the great leaders." So he goes back in time with the robot, and then when they come back, his grandfather has been kidnapped. So it's an evil force that's been, trying to destroy the whole galaxy. So Eddie has to become a full-fledged superhero. And what happens is he's a 12-year-old kid, but he's like Captain Marvel, Shazam, and he grows. He grows to like a man. He becomes a man. So, he gets this wristband and he taps it and he becomes a man. And but he's a man with kid problems, right? So he still has kissing his girl for the first time and homework and, puberty and all kinds of things. So basically he's protecting the entire galaxy, right? While he's having these problems as a kid, but he's also, he becomes a man at the same time. So he's, he's like, what is this? He's forced with not only puberty, but, other things that he has to deal with. So basically he's the next Mayan ruler, and he protects the empire. And not only empire, but in the section of the galaxy that Earth is included in. So he's like the whole protector. So it's basically like if the mythology is like Green Lantern, Ultraman, and Shazam all wrapped in together as one, but as from the Latino Mayan culture, as to what he has to do and stuff like that. So he ends up fighting monsters, but in the original pilot that we've written for a TV series and for the graphic novel, you see at the beginning that he was fighting one of his biggest nemesis, and he gets hit by a power wave. And what happens is when he gets hit by that power wave, it actually splits up his ego, his id, and his super ego. So that's the super ego is the one that came and captured his grandfather and took him away. So he's actually have to fight himself in the pilot, but he tries to fight himself, and what happens is that he can't. So what he ends up having to do is he ends up absorbing his ego, his id, and his superego, and becomes a full-fledged superhero. So that's how he becomes whole again.
Okay.
So he split up, and then he becomes whole again. So he can't defeat him, so he has to absorb him. So
that's great.
Yeah, it's kind of a psychological kind of mythological superhero kind of platform where you start them all from. So
right. No, it's I like all the themes, and I'm a absolute sucker for the ancient civilization, tying that into extraterrestrial. Yeah. I love that bend on stories.
It's great for the Hispanic Latino culture, because the Mayans. We always wonder where they go. So now we find out what's happening, and this is where the next chosen leader comes from. So we're working on stuff like that. We have a comedy dramedy about two guys that travel cross country in a car, and they actually find out it's a rolling meth lab, and the guys that they're trying to deliver the car for actually steal the car, and the DEA, and they get involved, and they find out that they're actually brothers. They didn't know they're actually biological brothers, and one of the brothers who's in remission from cancer, his cancer is returning, needs a bone marrow transplant. So he's looking for his brother. That's how he finds out that the guy he's been traveling with the whole time, who was a fellow coworker, is actually his biological brother that got split up from when they were young. So it's a dramedy kind of comedy that we're trying to get done as well. So and all these can be shot locally around here in Las Cruces and stuff like that. So
right,
we got sci-fi, we've got we got sci-fi, we've got horror, we've got action. We have a Latino James Bond. Yeah, I wrote that because I saw James Bond. I love James Bond. So I was like, man, there's no Latino James Bond. There isn't like a cool one, right? So I basically we decided to create a Latino James Bond.
I think that archetype could be played with a lot. I mean, there's been a ton of talk since Daniel Craig has been stepping down about changing up the actor that plays James Bond next. So,
right, yeah. So maybe we'll get a Latino James Bond, but hopefully it will be our James Bond. But the character's name is Brandon De La Cruz, and he's basically from Spain. And he works for Interpol. And what happened? It's basically I took Batman, and he creates like his own devices that he needs. He doesn't have Q department and stuff like that. This is just like the bare bones, where he starts from, and basically he goes as a rogue agent. He just leaves Interpol and says, "There's more work to do. I have to do it on my own," and he goes and does it like that. So
great. So a little Jason Bourne in there as well.
Exactly, Jason Bourne, Batman, and James Bond. But we like to call that our Latino James Bond. So.
That's awesome. So, so those are some of your future productions as well.
Future productions we're doing as well. Yeah, all of them are probably graphic novels, or TV, live action TV series. Like I said, you never know, But TV is probably the best because Las Cruces, New Mexico are just they're focusing on TV a lot, and a lot of TV shows are coming here. So
yeah, it's definitely up and coming. I mean, I think it's already there.
Yeah, it's here. Yeah, we just gotta get them rolling and get us rolling and get some stuff going. So
right. Well, I guess to wrap things up. So to bring it around, where do you see Latinos and Latino film and television over the course of the next decade or so?
Well, the next decade, I think there's going to be a lot of Latino product because I see a lot of people who they're just craving it. They're just craving it. I talked to a lot of Latinos, on Twitter, Facebook, and all stuff like that, and they're just looking for we want to see our own stories come out. So I think Latinos are going to take a huge step in the next 5 years, and hopefully, well, not hopefully, we will be there to help them, get it out. We're going to get our projects out. We're going to help them get it out. We're going to get the Latino word out, and well, I mean, not just Latino, but through mainstream projects and stuff like that. That's what I think in the next 10 years, 5 to 10. I think the next 5 years we're going to get a lot of stuff going, and then the next 5 years after that, I think there's going to be a huge jump, and there's going to be lots of stuff coming. Not I mean in every genre there is. I think there's going to be just lots of stuff.
Oh, well, that's great to hear, and clearly, we talked a lot about that, your heritage and the fact that New Mexico is just blowing up as a location for film shoots, and it sounds like you're exactly where you need to be. Yeah, we're here. We're ready to go, and we're ready to help out whatever we need to do in Las Cruces, and whenever Las Cruces needs, and we just want to help be a part of the whole culture. Because it's rich in culture here. That's what and you come back to your home base. It's always a culture that's where stories are originated from, is basically sitting around a campfire, telling stories and stuff like that. And Latinos are rich in culture with that because that's, especially in horror. I mean, when you're a kid, they're like, they say, if you don't do that, the boogeyman's going to get you. It's like, oh my God. But, Sounds like we may have had the same dad. Yeah. Exactly. But, I think we're here. We're going to help out as much as we can. And I think we're going to make a huge, huge dent in not only in the Latino market, but in New Mexico and Las Cruces. So we're going to get everything rolling here. So be ready for us. We're coming your way. I already want to see everything you just talked about. So. Oh, thanks. Yeah. So, well, we're trying to get it out there. So as much word as we can, we're getting our own money together to do stuff. A couple of our investors are trying to do stuff, help us out right now. And, like as I said, we're trying to get most of them feature films. We're trying to get whatever project happens first is good. But I think our horror films are what's going to be the best and the first and the scariest. So I want you guys out there watching it. You don't have to sell me too hard. We're here to scare you guys. I love me a good messed up horror film. So yeah. Everybody does. Yeah. Well, great. Well, Sergio, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much. Where can everyone keep up to date with Out of Gum Productions? You can go to our website at Out of Gum Productions, or you can even Twitter us at Out of Gum on Twitter. Out of Gum Productions on Twitter. Wonderful. One more time, check it out. It's outofgumproductions.com. Sergio, thank you one more time. Everyone, hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next time. All right. Thank you.